8:42 a.m., Federal Courtroom 47, New York. Just as the prosecution moved to deliver their final indictment, seemingly sealing Diddy's fate, the courtroom doors burst open. A federal agent strode in, clutching a secure device, and urgently requested a 15-minute recess. The air in the room turned frigid. On the main display flashed a raw, unedited surveillance clip, less than 3 minutes long, pulled from the private security system of a penthouse owned by Diddy's son. No narration, no edits. Just stark, unfiltered footage, crisp audio, unmistakable voices, and damning commands. The man on screen, Diddy's own flesh and blood. He recited guest names, directed staff to prepare a sealed room, and ordered security to ensure, "My father doesn't find out where this is happening." The courtroom held its breath, and in an instant, the trial's focus shattered. This was no longer about a fallen music icon. A far more sinister question now loomed. If the father was just a shield, who was really pulling the strings? At 8:12 a.m. on June 27, 2025, the Southern District of Manhattan's federal court convened for the 29th hearing in the case against Sean "Diddy" Combs. The charges spanned 31 counts: unlawful gatherings, concealed money laundering, coercion via private facilities, and most chillingly, witness manipulation through a psychological system dubbed soft identification, a blend of emotional control and financial domination. Courtroom 47 was packed. Prosecutors and defense teams braced for final arguments before jury deliberations. CNN, BBC, and Al Jazeera journalists crowded the press section, while outside, Foley Square teemed with protesters, their banners clashing like a modern-day battleground. Diddy entered, his face unreadable. Gone was the exhaustion from prior hearings. Clad in a navy suit buttoned to the collar, he spoke only to his lead attorney, Arthur Kelman, a legal titan who'd steered landmark federal cases. Judge Claudia Rees called order. Phones silenced, the debate began. The prosecution's case was methodical. Secret party recordings, anonymous testimonies, electronic trails from Diddy's Miami and Bahamas estates. Each piece painted him as the architect, granting access, directing personnel, overseeing a criminal enterprise masked by fame. The attorney described it as a shadow empire, where influence hid a machine of control. Then, at 9:22 a.m., a clerk intercepted an urgent message. Judge Raines ordered an abrupt recess. 14 minutes later, the courtroom reassembled in taut silence. The main screen flickered to life, displaying a file marked EXHVR 00001, a verified FBI extraction from Diddy's son's high-rise. The timestamp matched a key event under scrutiny. But Diddy wasn't in the footage. Instead, his son, Justin Combs, dominated the frame. He rattled off names, inner circle only, then snapped, "Route nothing through my father's accounts. He stays in the dark." The angle was unobstructed, the audio pristine. The FBI's authentication had landed just 6 minutes prior. No1 moved. The jury froze. Prosecutors hesitated. Diddy's expression didn't change, but for the first time, his gaze cut toward the empty space where his son should have been. Beside him, Kelman gave a near-invisible nod, a seismic shift. In 180 seconds, the case's core cracked. If the real orchestrator wasn't Diddy, the indictment would need recalibration, not dismissal, but a redrawn bullseye. Legally, this was a gravity shift. The prosecution had no counter-move. The case remains open, a shifting legal battlefield with Justin Combs now the primary defendant. His status upgraded from investigative detention to full criminal prosecution under Section 230.12 of the Federal Criminal Code. The legal landscape fractured. Diddy's team wasted no time capitalizing on the shift. At a tightly controlled press briefing in the Four Seasons, lead attorney Marlon Hayes delivered a televised statement. Mr. Sean Combs has always maintained his innocence. He is a father, a visionary entrepreneur, and a cultural icon, not the architect of the crimes alleged. Today, the system has begun to correct itself. But the backlash was immediate. The Human Dignity Foundation and Women for Accountability, two groups behind earlier class action suits, vowed to pursue civil litigation. Their argument: criminal acquittal doesn't erase moral responsibility. Politico captured the mood with its headline, "Diddy isn't criminally guilty. But is he innocent?" By 2 p.m., the House Judiciary Committee dropped a bombshell, a bipartisan motion to reassess real estate oversight in criminal cases where ownership is murky. If passed, Diddy could be hauled before Congress as a witness. Meanwhile, financial dominoes began to fall. Insurers froze contracts tied to Combs' enterprises. Streaming platforms weighed scrubbing his catalog, proving legal victory is not equal to public absolution. To Yale, ethics professor Alana Kerr framed it starkly: we're in uncharted territory. Courts decide guilt. Society decides redemption. And right now, the court of public opinion is still in session. June 14, 5:22 p.m., in a closed-door FBI evidence review, analysts uncovered a 721 interrupted sequence file from a Westwood Villas backup drive. The footage was clipped, unencrypted, and never logged. What remained? Infrared footage from May 16, weeks before the raid, masked figure, 89.7% biomechanical match to Justin, yanking a Veriker hard drive, used to stash raw video. The bombshells piled up. The villa's third-floor fiber line had been severed on April 17. No logs, no traces. Cameras there used non-standard codecs, a red flag for tampering. The fallout was nuclear. SDNY froze all evidence extraction. Backup copies in Chicago/Dallas were quarantined under alert code IRXC62, a full system lockdown. Media outlets pounced. The Intercept, core exposed, someone tampered with the cameras. Walpo, the system didn't break. Someone unplugged it. Prosecutors faced a nightmare. If the smoking gun footage of Justin was compromised, was any evidence clean? June 15, an FBI supervisor nuked the case further. All spliced or pre-seizure data is now inadmissible until re-verified. Diddy's team pounced. We welcome full authentication. Mr. Combs had zero involvement in data manipulation. But a cybersecurity insider whispered to press, "No one can swear what you saw in court was the original." The truth. This was no longer a family drama. It was a war over data integrity, and whether justice can function when digital evidence can vanish with a keystroke.